Does God get jealous?
Is there a question that's bothering you? What should we do if you haven't a clue? Ask Tim!
Does God get jealous? Really? Well, it does indeed appear to be thus, as God himself says so. When giving the Ten Commandments, he says these words, "For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God." And then again, just after God has given the first description of his character, of what he's like in the whole Bible, he says this, "You shall worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." So the evidence is beginning to look fairly conclusive. God gets jealous? Case closed? Well, not quite. You see, it depends on what you mean by jealous. You see, at some point in the past couple of 100 years, the common usage of the English language has combined two words which used to have distinct meanings. Jealousy and envy. Envy is that feeling you get when you want someone else's stuff, their Xbox or Lamborghini or partner. This isn't stuff that you're legitimately entitled to in some way, you just want it. And this now tends to be the situation which we are describing when we use the word jealous. Well, let's roll back the clock to 1828 and open up the latest edition of Webster's Dictionary of the English Language. Yes, I appreciate this is American English, not proper English, but something similar happened to the word on both sides of the Atlantic, so bear with me. This dictionary has various meanings for the word jealousy, but nowhere does it describe this feeling of envy. The word has changed its meaning, but the problem is we have no other equivalent English word to get across the meaning of the Hebrew word used, which is kenah. So while jealous is entirely inadequate as a term to describe this part of God's character, it is still probably the closest word we have in the English language. So what does this Hebrew word kenah actually mean when it is used about God? Well, it has no association whatsoever with the idea of self-centered pettiness, envy, or wanting other people's stuff, or indeed wanting other gods' worshippers as part of some kind of divine ego trip. God's jealousy is not like that of a child who wants another child's sweets because they look nice and it would stop the other child having them, nor is it entirely like that of someone towards their competitor for another's romantic affections. It is more like that of a good king, who doesn't want his subjects showing loyalty to other less scrupulous rulers, because he knows that such divided loyalties will negatively impact upon the good of the kingdom and will ultimately harm the well-being of the subjects who had promised to be loyal only to him. So yes, God is jealous, but not of the idols that his people went away and worshipped, and the idols that we go away and worship. He is jealous for his people, for you and for me, because when we go astray by worshipping other things with our time, energy and resources, it is ultimately us that suffer. And God's desire for his people is the abundant life that we can find in him alone.
Is there a question that's bothering you? What should we do if you haven't a clue? Ask Tim!